Here it is. The news about the coronavirus. That's right. The news about the coronavirus.
Were higher than any other period before the coronavirus pandemic. The city of Columbus announced that $3 million from the Federal CARES Act will help people avoid evictions. Officials say $3 million of the $157 million distributed in funding
the
will
news
directly
about the
help renters.
coronavirus.
And we'll have more on how our communities are dealing
That's
with the
right.
fallout from the pandemic in just a few moments. But first,
The
let's
news
go ahead
about
and get
the
a check of the
coronavirus.
Weather One's forecast.
So we'll start right off the bat with a severe threat for your Friday. Once again, showers and thunderstorms, they're going to form across the western side of the state in the late morning, start to intensify, and by the time they get to Columbus and then into eastern sections of the state, severe weather is possible. Gusty winds, small hail, heavy rain, kind of a rinse and repeat for Thursday. Overnight, we kind of rest and recharge a bit, and then as we get into the morning and afternoon hours, lines of showers and thunderstorms roll in. Now, I still think Cincinnati, Dayton, West Side will have a chance for some severe weather, but the most concentrated portions will be across central and eastern Ohio. Thursday got warm. We were 81 degrees in Cincinnati, 73 up in Cleveland, 75 in Columbus. That warm front that came through just about 24 to 36 hours ago really set the stage for a warm couple of days. And we'll continue that trend on Friday with highs in the low 70s in Cleveland, upper 70s for Columbus and Cincinnati, tracking showers and storms again pretty much statewide. Lima 72, Athens 79, Youngstown at 75. Looking at your extended forecast and your severe weather potential coming up in less than 10 minutes.
Of all the new openings announced Thursday, the most impactful for many parents was the information about daycares. Our State House reporter Molly Martinez has more about what you need to know.
Well, it's an announcement that was supposed to come Monday, but we are getting it today, and that deals with daycares. Many parents are heading back to work, and they've been left in a lurch, not knowing what to do with their children. But now they have an answer. Take a listen.
On May 31st, child care providers in Ohio will be able to reopen.
Contingent to reopening are intensified cleanings, mandatory masks worn by caretakers, daily temperature checks for both workers and children, and reduced numbers of children per room.
Classroom group sizes will be smaller, as you mentioned. For preschool and school-age children, there will be a maximum number of 9 children in a classroom. For infants and toddlers, there will be a maximum of 6 per classroom.
DeWine and Dr. Acton were candid Thursday about the dangers of reopening this part of Ohio particularly.
We do not have really any great data in regard to child care and COVID-19.
We don't want to gamble's a harsh word, on anyone in Ohio. I mean, there's nothing that we care about more than getting our citizens safely through what we're all facing, just a terrible virus. And that means we're all trying to learn how to live with it over the next year or two.
But they say they're committed to getting this right.
We want to have the safest child care system in the nation, one that nurtures the health and continued growth and the development of our young people, and one that protects the health and safety of our child care workers, teachers.
The governor and Dr. Amy Acton both said that they really want to be leaders when it comes to reopening childcare, and they want the nation to look to Ohio for the example that we're setting in these reopenings. She announced today that Ohio is partnering with Yale University in a study dealing with childcare and COVID-19. At the State House, Molly Martinez, Spectrum News.
The wait is over for Ohio gyms. They now have their date set when they can reopen. The decision comes in the same week the gym owners across Ohio filed a lawsuit against the state health department. Our Ryan Schmel spoke with 2 gym owners and learned there are plans to move forward with the lawsuit.
David Byron is preparing for the day, 2 weeks from now, when he can reopen Main Street Gym in Geneva.
They're just chomping at the bit to get back and work out. I have a lot of people who want to work out and they can't. It's their release. It's what they do.
Byron has owned his gym since 2007, and he's excited to finally know he can reopen on May 26.
I wanted to get our voice out there I felt like it was important. What was happening just didn't seem right. That we were, it seemed like we were singled out, whereas other businesses were being allowed to be open.
Viren is among the 35 gym owners who filed a lawsuit against Ohio Health Director Amy Acton and the Lake County General Health District because the facilities were not included in the state's plan to reopen businesses before now. Gyms are represented by the law firm 1851 Center for Constitutional Law. The lawsuit claims gym owners were deprived of their constitutional rights.
I wanted to be a part of it because I believe that we are an essential business. Gyms are essential.
Michelle Armstrong owns Armstrong Fitness in Madison. She believes her gym is ready to open up safely and get back on track financially.
We've offered sanitizer at all times. We have disinfectant. We do have some members that are continuing, they are working and they have graciously said, please continue my dues. And we have offered them a credit when we can open.
Ryan Schmelz, Spectrum News.
The Lake County General Health District tells us it does not comment on pending litigation, and the State Health Department has not yet returned our request for comment. The nonprofit community has been greatly affected by COVID-19. Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost, Ohio State University, and Philanthropy Ohio are now partnering to study the immediate challenges charities are facing nationwide. Our Carlin Wells has more.
COVID-19 is limiting how most charities operate, and a new survey shows the pandemic has stopped some nonprofits from providing services at all. Chief Communications Officer with nonprofit organization Philanthropy Ohio, Claudia Harold, says the purpose of the survey isn't just to show charitable impacts during COVID-19, but to act as a call to action to the public and to policymakers.
We wanted to be able to inform the decisions that our policymakers at the state and federal levels would be making.
Over 7,000 nonprofit organizations across the state responded to the Ohio Nonprofit COVID-19 survey produced by the Ohio Attorney General's Office, Philanthropy Ohio, and the Ohio State University's John Glenn School of Public Affairs. The survey captures early reactions of the nonprofit sector to the pandemic, including their concerns and planned actions.
So 15% cut or furloughed staff, and that's really tough because we know these organizations are on the front lines of giving behavioral health care. They're providing emergency food, all of those things, taking care of our kids and after school programs. Also, 25% cut administrative expenses. So anywhere they could, they were cutting those expenses, whether that was around travel or professional development, their own learning that cost money. We also saw that 19% applied for a federal loan.
Harold says 13% of charities have resorted to appealing to donors directly via email and social media, and many others cited not being able to access volunteers. Executive Director of the Ohio Association of Food Banks, Lisa Handler-Fugit, says each of the 12 Feeding America food banks and 3,600 member charities the association represents are trying to continue serving the growing number of Ohioans in need while managing a lack of volunteers and resources.
We realized that not only were we the grocery store for 1.6 million Ohioans in the best of economic times, that tens of thousands more Ohioans were joining the food line.
Handler-Fugit says food banks, soup kitchens, and homeless shelters are feeding over 20% of Ohioans right now, and the cost of doing so has not gone down.
So our costs are up significantly. We had to hire temporary staff, get more trucks on the road, pay overtime, do deep cleaning of our operations. In some cases, we've got food banks reporting that they're exceeding their payroll line items by substantial amounts in the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Long term, this is not sustainable.
She and Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost agree that the Ohio Nonprofit COVID-19 survey paints a clear picture that many Ohio nonprofits won't be able to keep meeting more needs with less resources.
1 out of 4 charities has had to stop operations altogether during this crisis. 50%, 1 out of every 2, have had to cut back on the amount of help that they're able to give people. And The survey shows us that more than 2/3 of them rely not on the big corporations. They rely on people at home, individual donors.
The state's 37,000 public charities have to register with the Attorney General's office. Attorney General Yost says his office has tried to ease the burden on them by putting off a number of regulatory and reporting deadlines. Yost adds that he's encouraging those who can to give and give generously.
Everybody's being hit. This is a tough time. I just cut $4.6 million out of my office's budget. But charities, 3 out of 4 of them have either cut back or stopped because the cash is drying up. Your gifts are important for these charities to keep operating.
Reporting from Cleveland, Carlin Wells, Spectrum News.
And the project partners plan to field further rounds of the survey in the coming months to track how nonprofits are overcoming and recovering from the coronavirus pandemic.
I'm Andrew Kozak with your Weather on the Ones forecast right here on Spectrum News 1. Thank you so much for joining me as we head into your Friday. Make sure to join me on Facebook at Andrew Kozak TV. Same deal, Andrew Kozak TV on Twitter, Instagram, and on Snapchat. So your Thursday ended up being pretty busy. Showers, a couple of severe thunderstorms. Now we rest overnight, recharge the atmosphere as we head into the day on Friday. Storms will form out west, then move east, and as they get into central and eastern Ohio, they're going to potentially get back up into severe weather levels. Gusty winds, heavy rain, in addition to small hail, lightning, and thunder. Through 7 a.m., scattered showers. The severe threat does subside. There's the good news there. Then as we get into the day on Friday, severe storms once again possible. Timing on that, probably 2 rounds. Mid-afternoon to about 5 o'clock, and then again after about 7 o'clock, we have a chance to get in on a line of showers and storms. Wind, hail, and again, potential flooding being the main areas of concern. Then as we get into your Saturday, temperatures close to or at 80 degrees. A couple of showers and storms, a few, but we're not looking at widespread rain. All of the storms moved out toward the east, and now we're still looking at some showers overnight. Does look like we'll see mainly just cloudy skies. By 7 o'clock, 62. Already in the 70s by about 11. High temperatures will be in the low 70s. So we're going to stay flat, upper 60s, low 70s. We'll also temporarily cool off when we get some showers and even a few thunderstorms. That will cool us off, and if we get a bit of a break and we still have the daytime heating of the sun, we can see those temperatures soar back up into the low 70s. Now on Friday, I still think the damaging wind, the hail, and the flooding threat is there. Tornado threat's not zero. It is low though, but we're watching either way. High temperatures on Friday, 73 in Cleveland, 74 Mansfield, 78 degrees in Columbus. So we're looking at some pretty warm temperatures even in our area. It's hard to believe that just about a week ago we were looking, or even less, at freeze warnings. Now, 60s and 70s. A little cooler on Saturday, overcast skies. Then as we get into your Sunday, 72, 64 on Monday, we cool down as a front starts to move in. So, your 7-day forecast, I'll have that coming up in just about a minute 30, I should say in less than 10 minutes from a minute 30 from the start. What we'll be doing then is also going over your severe weather potential in greater detail for your Friday. We'll talk about the rain chances and amounts as we get into your week and weekend. And of course, we'll talk about the dry weather that will be on its way next week. Right now, as always, though, we'll send you over to a live look at your Storm Track Doppler radar.
The doctor who says he lost his job after warning the Trump administration about the coronavirus pandemic isn't backing down. A look inside his testimony on Capitol Hill next.
You didn't just start a business. You created a community, and you will rebuild. Let us help you reconnect. Let's rebuild together. Get a free video and 20% off your TV advertising. Visit rebuild.spectrumreach.com to get started.
When you stop in to say hi to neighbors, you truly care about their day. Well, that's how we do business at Portage Community Bank. Face-to-face, delivered with a smile. We listen to your needs and make you comfortable. We respect the things you hold dear and help you set goals. For neighbors like you, we take service very personal. We invite you to bank on a new experience with us. Old-fashioned banking mixed with convenience of modern technology. Stop by Portage Community Bank in Kent, Nevada, and our beautiful new office in downtown Cuyahoga Falls.
We know your Ford is an essential part of your life.
Even if you're driving less right now, maintenance and service is still important.
That's why your local Ford dealership and their technicians are here to help.
We can pick up your vehicle, service it,
and then return it right to your driveway.
A fast, simple service appointment. And most importantly,
you don't need to leave your home to do it.
Call your local Ford dealer to make an appointment today. We'll handle the rest.
Every morning, the people of Ohio have the opportunity to wake up and start fresh.
We want to be a different kind of news channel, putting storytelling and community first.
Your morning news, weekday mornings on Spectrum News 1.
Really a part of my life. It's not just a job, it is my passion. I'm Chief Meteorologist here, Rick Elwell. We have a very experienced weather team. We know what's important to Ohioans as they make their plans every day because we are part of the community. I'm Eric Elwell, Chief Meteorologist, Spectrum News 1.
Senior White House officials held a briefing Thursday on the status of the national stockpile of coronavirus supplies. Administration officials say they're in the process of creating a system that lets them surge supplies to COVID-19 hotspots in the U.S. Right now, they're building a 90-day stockpile of life-saving equipment like masks, ventilators, and other PPE. The administration also wants to shift more manufacturing of those supplies back to the U.S. through the Defense Production Act. A government whistleblower warns the coronavirus pandemic could still get worse. Take a listen.
There will be likely a resurgence of COVID-19 this fall. It'll be greatly compounded by the challenges of seasonal influenza. Without better planning, 2020 could be the darkest winter in modern history.
Dr. Rick Bright told the House Energy and Commerce Committee that as head of the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, he pushed for a more aggressive response in January and February, but was ignored. And when he refused to promote the drug hydrochloroquine as a treatment, he was removed from his position. Wright also testified about the need to establish a supply chain for vaccines and a strategy for distribution once one is developed. Republicans on the committee questioned why he did not bring his concerns to Congress sooner.
I'm interested because we're passing these bills. In the future, I hope you would, or anybody out there listening in these agencies, if you're spotting something that's not working right, we need to know.
Universities across the U.S. are being faced with some very difficult decisions due to the pandemic. Still ahead, athletes from one Ohio college react to the news that next year's sports seasons have already been canceled.
Another crack at severe weather as we head into your Friday afternoon. Temperatures in the mid to upper 70s, very close to 80 from I-70 on south. I'm meteorologist Andrew Kozak. We'll talk about those temperatures. We'll talk about your severe potential and your 7-day plan. It's all coming up on the other side of the break.
Hey. Hi. How are you? Evening. Whew. So, what's the plan?
You jump in there, the drought ends, and then the crops grow.
Everyone's happy. Right. Okay. What if instead we built some sort of system that would get the water from the river down to the fields? Like with tubes or something?
A gravity-driven water distribution network.
Yes! Huh?
You got it here?
No.
Oh, well, everybody walked all the way up here, so...
Go on, get on with it!
In you go.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I liked him. You like everyone.
Well, I'm a people person.
Eventually, somebody realizes there's a better way to do things. Like a mobile service that's the most reliable, with the fastest overall speeds, and now with 5G. It's a better way to mobile. It's Spectrum Mobile.
But people, we don't just know about the weather, we know about Ohio.
You never have to wait for your forecast with your Weather on the Ones.
Weather on the Ones every 10 minutes, exclusively on Spectrum. Spectrum News 1, a new kind of news channel dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering communities across the Buckeye State. With your local forecast every 10 minutes and all of the essential news you need 24/7. Plus, in-depth shows and exclusives focused on your community. Always Ohio, always refreshing, always on. We are Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Maybe I'll run for president, maybe I won't, but I will tell you that I'm not going to go away.
I don't think Michigan can become the Michigan of old.
We're probably the first professional sports team in the world that was built by the fans.
We're the biggest ice cream shipper in the nation, setting the standard for American ice cream.
I get to live my dream. I mean, what more could I ask for?
Conversations, Sunday and Tuesday night at 9 on Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
I'm Andrew Kozak with your Weather on the Ones forecast right here on Spectrum News 1. Thank you so much for joining me as we head into your Friday. We've got a lot to cover, including the potential for more severe weather for Friday afternoon. Showers and storms start in the west. They start to increase in intensity and coverage area in central Ohio, and then they move in our neck of the woods by late Friday afternoon and into Friday evening. That will give us a chance for showers and thunderstorms that once again could line up and give us the chance for some heavy rain, gusty winds, in addition to hail and lightning and thunder. So let's get right in on it. This is your futurecast, and on top of it, or below it, I'll superimpose the severe threat for your Friday. Overnight, we may get a couple of sprinkles and showers towards 7, but we should be fine and clear of any severe weather. Some morning showers across northwestern Ohio. 1 or 2 of those could squeeze into our area, but it's really what forms out into western portions of Indiana, moves into our state, and then starts to encounter some instability that will affect us. There's the picture, 3 p.m. Friday. Showers, thunderstorms will continue that all the way through the evening hours and finally clear out temporarily by the time we get into the early part of Saturday. I talked about this about 10 minutes ago. Let's talk about rain totals. 1 to 2 inches for a good portion of the state in purple. But that area of red and orange, that's Cleveland, up toward Ashtabula, Youngstown, and areas across east and northeastern Ohio. 2, maybe 3 inches of rain by early next week. So some healthy amounts coming our way. Flooding could be a concern, especially by early next week. While we turn the faucet off for the most part on Saturday, Sunday and Monday will give us that next chance for showers and even some thunderstorms, especially Sunday evening. High temperatures, though, they're warm. 73 in Cleveland, 74 Mansfield, 74 in Akron. Here's your 7-day forecast. 68 on Saturday. I'm still keeping that slight chance of rain in here. But then by Sunday and Monday, we could be looking at, as all of this wraps up, some heavy rain, maybe a few thunderstorms. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, just a slight chance of a sprinkle. Otherwise, partly cloudy skies and mild temperatures. Right now, your Storm Track Doppler radar.
As pro sports teams are gearing up to potentially return to the field, one Ohio college has made the decision to suspend athletics for the full academic year. Spectrum News 1 reporter Tino Bavenzi caught up with 2 Sinclair baseball commits who now have to find a new place to play ball.
Sinclair Community College announced it has canceled all athletic activities for the 2021 academic year. The college says the decision was due to the coronavirus pandemic, one that was devastating for their incoming student athletes.
I didn't think the decision was going to be made so soon.
Matthew McElligott is a pitcher from Bishop Hartley High School in Columbus who was committed to play baseball at Sinclair, but now he's looking for a new place to play.
Yeah, definitely not part of the plan. Wasn't expecting it at all, and again, was super excited to get down there and play for all those guys, but yeah, just think it was a little too early, and again, I wish it was my decision, but it's not.
Peyton Lane is an infielder at National Trail High School in New Paris, Ohio, who is looking forward to playing at Sinclair next year, especially after his senior season was canceled.
So it's more devastating that just one thing after another.
But as he starts the process to find a new home, he's grateful Sinclair's coaches are helping him along the way. But he says he feels terrible for head coach Steve Dinneman, who has to rebuild from scratch next year.
He puts all his time and effort into that program, and he's done such great things with that program that for this just to go down kind of sucks. I feel horrible for him. I'm sure he's devastated along with all of us.
Dinniman's Tartan Pride baseball team is a dominant force in the Ohio Community College Athletic Conference, winning an average of 49 games a season over the past 6 years. The coach was not made available for comment by Sinclair, but his program is just one of 5 sports at Sinclair that are impacted by the announcement. Sinclair also participates in men's and women's basketball, women's softball, and women's volleyball. The move to cancel through the entire academic year comes ahead of the NCAA, who has yet to make a decision on fall sports for 2020. Sinclair President Steve Johnson said in a release, "The safety of our students and staff is of utmost importance, and we have determined that it is in the best interest of our campus community that we follow the recommendations of public health authorities and cancel our athletics activities for the rest of the year." After much consideration, we see very little possibility within the next year for our athletics teams to practice, play, and travel together without violating social distancing measures. Sinclair wanted to give student athletes the most time possible to make adjustments, but if commits plan to stay with Sinclair, their original scholarships will be honored. And while it's been a tough pill to swallow for incoming recruits, Mick Elegant says he's trying to stay optimistic through the process.
I took 10 minutes to think, like, oh, put me in line, and then right after that, I'm getting after it. I'm working every day to find a different school, looking for that opportunity to play somewhere else.
For Spectrum News, I'm Tino Bobenzi.
Reopening Ohio safely. The different precautions the state is taking as it moves forward with reopening the economy. That story and more is still ahead, but first, here's Ohio Voices.
My father came to Hamilton. His parents had a successful confectionery in New York City, but during the stock market crash of 1929, they lost everything and decided to come to Hamilton because they had some cousins here, but they needed money. They had no collateral. So my grandfather went into First National Bank and asked to speak to the president. The man looking at him said, "I don't know, Gus, you don't have any collateral, you have nothing backing you up, this was not what you were doing in New York, but for some reason I think you're going to make it, so I'm giving you the loan." Well, they were successful, and that man that gave them the loan was Don Fitton, who is my husband's grandfather. So I ended up marrying his grandson.
Spectrum News 1, a new kind of news channel dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering communities across the Buckeye State. With your local forecast every 10 minutes and all of the essential news you need 24/7. Plus, in-depth shows and exclusives focused on your community. Always Ohio, always refreshing, always on. We are Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Give me an opportunity to see every corner of the state. I want to empower our communities and redefine what a news channel can be.
Every morning, the people of Ohio have the opportunity to wake up and start fresh.
We want to be a different kind of news channel, putting storytelling and community first.
Well, it's really humbling to be invited to our neighbors' homes and help them plan their day.
Welcome to Your Morning News. I'm Sophia Constantine.
Let's take a look at your weather on the one. We've got a large band of precipitation.
Your Morning News, weekday mornings on Spectrum News 1. Spectrum News 1, a new kind of news channel dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering